Okay, well, this just happened at the UN. The General Assembly voted in favor of a ceasefire in Gaza. 10 countries opposed it. Leading the way, of course, is the US, but they were joined by, let's see here, they were joined by Austria, Czechia, Guatemala, Israel, Liberia, Micronesia, Nauru, Papua New Guinea, and Paraguay. So that's basically the typical division. The entire world opposes Israeli aggression. The only country that matters, though, doesn't, and that's the U.S. And so the aggression will continue.
Yeah, and look below Cameroon, which is a former French colony. Obviously, the Cameroonian population is not pro-Israel, but they abstained. You have Canada actually voting in favor of a ceasefire. That's pretty significant to me. They've tapped out. They've had enough. And there are other countries in there.
France as well.
One of the biggest U.S. vassal states in the world voted in favor of a ceasefire. Australia. So and the UK abstained.
UK abstained.
France.
Yeah,
France voted in favor of a ceasefire. Finland voted in favor of a ceasefire. I mean, the isolation of the U.S. is incredible here.
Ukraine abstained. I'm sure they actually wanted to vote against, but they were probably told to just abstain because they don't want to make it look too obvious that they're a complete vassal of the U.S. And it might look awkward for them to be, claiming that they're fighting an existential fight against occupation, to then be voting on side with an occupying army. So they abstained, which
you would think that would have implications for Crimea if they would vote against this ceasefire resolution. If the more they support Israel, the more they're supporting the pretext for the seizure of land which is considered occupied. They consider Crimea to be occupied. And the U.S. uses some of the same international legal logic that Palestinians assert at the UN to condemn Russia for annexing Crimea. So it's funny how unprincipled Ukraine can be in this case, and how they're torn between their sponsor and their claims about international law. But anyway, this vote really it tells the tale of world opinion. It's non-binding. It's not going to go anywhere. The U.S. already cast its notorious veto through. They didn't even send, by the way, their UN ambassador, the main ambassador, Linda Thomas Greenfield. They sent the number 2, Robert A. Wood, the guy who sits there when we give our talks at the UN and plays on his phone.
Yeah.
It was like, sorry. You have to do this. You have to be remembered in history. No one knew who you were before today, but now everyone around the world is going to see this image of you raising your hand. And they're going to despise you and question your moral rectitude. So this is just basically a statement of world opinion. The whole world is against the U.S. And people in Gaza, they feel like the whole world is against them because no one's actually few countries are actually doing anything to stop this.